Casey, my friend, how are you?
Stephen Kellogg, I'm doing amazing, brother. It's nice to see your face and be able to talk to you.
Yeah, I know. Well, with so many Zooms, people have these wild backgrounds, but yours is actually real. There, you are. This is real wilderness here. You
It's
are.
it's not it's not just my jungle shirt. It's an actual jungle. Yeah, I'm currently in the jungle, and I'm on a quad. I'm on a four wheeler with my phone posted on a milk crate. Uh,
Oh my God.
and I'm wearing one of two Hawaiian shirts that I happen to have down here because I wear them on the show. I wear them on Man versus Food for the challenges. So I figured, I'm going to be talking about the show a little bit, so I might as well wear a Hawaiian shirt. So
Oh,
here we
I
are.
I think it's so awesome, and the show is so like when we became friends 6 months ago. We were both speaking at that Vineyard Vines event, and we met. And since then, I have been watching the show, and it's I've
Thanks, man.
told you this before, but it's near and dear to my heart because I am a real life. Like an overeater. I wrote about this in my book. I mean, I really Man versus Food is like my daily thing, and yet you've actually told me ways to improve. I'm like, wow, I have a friend that knows about this. But we're now in our third month of quarantine. Can you tell folks, is there any magic silver bullet you can offer us for how to repair the terrible food decisions that a lot of us are making on a regular basis?
Well, well, I think don't be too hard on yourself with anything, especially with food. Oftentimes, when we eat the crazy foods that we don't think we should be eating, we're craving something else, like real fat, like or like so or even
Emotional
salt or
stability.
sodium, right? Or even emotional stability. And you said you're as an overeater. Where do you put it, brother? There's no way you're an overeater.
Casey, last night I said to my wife, I said, I've actually lost 2 pounds since
Oh,
quarantine. And her eyes subconsciously looked right at my gut, and like an eyebrow went up. I mean, because it really, it just show I'm like I have sticks for legs, and I have this spindly thing, and then it's just in my gut, man.
is that food or is that beer?
It's both. I mean, I ate 4 Portillo's hot dogs the other day just for
Oh,
lunch.
right. I mean, you have a pretty quick metabolism, and you're a pretty smart and savvy guy, and you're a musician, you're a performer, so you need all that energy. So sometimes, we need more food than we might think. I mean, I, on the other hand, have lost weight being here because I'm currently Costa Rica, so it's really hot, and you don't want to eat a lot.
Mhm.
Typically, that's what I do for my job, but I do come down here so I can lose some pounds. Then I can focus on the diet a little bit more because it's all about your gut and your heart, right? I mean, you're an artist, right? You're a performer, you're a musician, you're creative. It's really, I trust my gut and my heart. And as far as the food goes, the same thing. So I happen to host a crazy show where I eat crazy food, but normally I eat pretty well. I eat pretty clean. I was lucky enough as a kid to, I've always fluctuated with weight, but I worked at a health food store as a kid. I was vegan, I was vegetarian, so I've had
Wow.
a interesting different diets throughout my life. And I'm at 44. I just turned 44 while in quarantine, and I feel really good about my diet, my lifestyle. I mean, granted, travel the country like yourself, and I'm eating in restaurants a lot, and oftentimes that's high in fat, high in sugar, high in salt. But you balance it out.
Do
For
you?
every
I
ice
mean,
cream sandwich, you eat a salad, right?
I love you. You're so articulate. And when you were at the show in New York, you wrote one of them a beautiful post after. And
Uh,
I love the way your brain works. Do you have a lot of dudes that just come up to you like and just assume that you're just like, hey man, let's throw like I mean, maybe you don't want to talk about that, but it seems
no,
like
no.
it would be an annoying byproduct of being the
You
role you.
know, right? Like you bring up, people ask me that all the time too, because uh, what I love about how I feel like I'm very approachable, and I think the show showcases that
Yeah.
because I'm talking to people in restaurants, in physically active restaurants while we're filming, and I love that part. People that I know that or I know some famous folks that don't necessarily they're very much an actor, and they keep to themselves. They don't
Right.
necessarily like the celebrity or the publicity. But for me, I'm always been a regular guy, and I was a bartender for a long time. I enjoy that interaction, the random occurrences, the conversations, and social media. I get hit with a lot of stuff. People have a ton of suggestions on places that I should eat,
Yeah.
and challenges that I should eat, and which I embrace that too. But I can't tell you how much I enjoy a stranger feeling comfortable enough to come up to me and talk to me and just say hello, like, oh, we see the show, we love the show. Or,
That's cool.
thankfully no one said, oh, we hate you. That's never happened. So I don't, I'd rather someone come up to me than not. And I've luckily in the last 3 years, I've met so many more people outside of filming, outside in restaurants that just really love the show. And then they feel like they can say hi and then ask me food stuff related things, so.
Being relatively new to the show, I have two more quick things I want to ask you about.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you go, but you talk a lot about the heart, and I'm relatively new to the show. So I've seen episodes where man wins and episodes where food wins.
Totally.
Do you but I take everything personally, like things like my wife calls me minor injustice man. Like there's no, I take someone driving fast in my neighborhood as this personal insult. Like, why would they do that to me?
Slow down.
Do you ever, when food wins, and I apologize if you've been asked these questions a million times.
No, not at all.
Like, but when food wins, is it ever like are you bummed? Are you ever like sad? I watched the one where you had like 3 French fries left, but didn't make the 25-minute like thing. And I mean, how do you feel when or is this just not a factor?
So, I'm not, I may be considered a professional competitive eater, but, I came into this with not a ton of experience in that world. I mean, and for me, losing is part of it, so, I'm probably in like the 65 percentile, 70%, and that's pretty much like high school, so I'm pretty consistent. So my win to lose ratio is like 65%, and you can't win them all. And I think you really, might sound cliche, but you learn a lot about not winning. Just lost my earbud. See, I just lost there, but now I'm back again. So, there's something to be that you value, and there's something to discover when you don't necessarily win. Because I've lost real things in life. I played competitive sports in high school and college, and I've always considered myself like the Rocky Balboa of the competitive food world, because or Husky Balboa, as I call myself, because you're not going to win them all. But,
I mean,
but I try my hardest.
You always do, and it's beautiful. And I just, but I play. Sometimes man. I play my big show, and the dressing room's packed, and everybody wants to come back after, and you can feel like we got that one. And
the energy, sure.
Some nights it doesn't go that way, and then that friend who was gonna like come see is like, oh hey, we had to bounce, and you're like, and I sort of am like, did I make people sad? And I worry. I mean, is there ever have you ever had one where there's a vibe in the place after like, oh boy, or is it always just like, do people just love your underdog trying?
No, sometimes honestly, people will always want me to win, and it's like, I understand that I'm not always going to win, but at least I'm trying. I'm putting in the effort in there.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. Like, I don't really listen to the naysayers at all. If I was 20 and doing this, I'd probably be crushed. But I realized 2 things. It's just a TV show, and we're having fun, and we get to showcase people's restaurants. That gives them more attention and maybe brings more, puts more butts in the seats, which is most important to me, because that's huge. And I didn't know that until we started doing the show, that, we can increase business by 40% just by showing up and putting the show on TV, which is amazing to me. And it's probably 2 things. The audience cheer me on during the challenge. That's actually pushed me over the point where I thought I was going to lose and then I'd win. That's happened more often than not. And the nature of a show going to a restaurant, how it can potentially increase their business by 40%, which is amazing. So that's given me purpose to do this, more purpose than I ever thought I'd have. Because there's a point, after we've done 70 something episodes, there's a shelf life to everything, and it's a lot to take on. But you know what? It's really the fans, the people that keep me going, and recharging in nature helps too. And I
Yeah.
gotta say, man, I did go to that show in New York. And it's funny because I'd ask my friends, hey, you want to go see my friend Stephen Kellogg? He's playing in New York. They're like, oh, we already have tickets. We're already going. We love him. We've been following him for years. I was like, what? Because like you were new to me and I was new to you when we met at the Vineyard Vines event.
Yeah.
So I was so psyched that my friend, I get chills just talking about it. I was so psyched that my friends were already going and had tickets, and they had like basically front row tickets. And I got to sit with them and listen to you tell your stories and laugh and cheer you on. It was such an incredible to have to, you know, since we're
Dude,
talking about it, I wanted to tell you that. I don't
love
think I ever had a
that.
chance to say it to you, but thank you.
No, I mean, I love that. And I feel like where you and I really connect is that the trying to, I mean, showing up and just showing up and doing
Showing up.
what you can. And I love your heart. And I
Thanks,
love that
man.
you're here.
Love
This
you too,
show
buddy.
this is going to be pushing out to Charlotte. I did see
Yeah.
that you recently, 2019, there was a Charlotte episode, the Rockin' Frito Pie team. Just since
Whoa.
it is Charlotte,
Yeah, that was a big one.
it was a big one. Yeah, you remember it well, and I know you had some nice things to say about the town of Charlotte, which is
Yeah, Charlotte. I mean, that was in the beginning of the fourth season. And what's interesting, like a season typically is like 13 episodes. We did 32 episodes in the fourth season. And that all has to do with contracts and whatever. They just added more episodes, which is incredible because the show is doing well, right? So Charlotte is such a great town. You know, it's like, it's one of the greatest places for barbecue in the country, hands down. And we got to showcase some barbecue. Bill's Spoons is like an old school barbecue place. I mean, we roasted a whole pig. It was incredible. The food is tremendous. It was basically a few generations of family making barbecue there. Soul Food, SEOL, or Seoul, 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 right? Seoul Korea is Korean. Basically Korean with Southern influences. Is so good. If you like Southern food and soul food, it's incredible. And then we went to a place called Tin Cup, which is, there's a chain of those, but Tin Roof, it was a 6-pound Frito challenge with 2 people. 6 pounds of Frito pie challenge.
it's amazing.
You'll have to tune in. I'm not gonna tell you what happened. I want people to, I don't want to ruin it for people,
Yeah,
but it was, I had one of the biggest people I've ever met in my entire life. He's such a pro. He works for the company, but him and I took it on, and well, you have to tune in to see what happens.
Yeah, we'll tune in, man.
Great town, though.
Dude,
NASCAR is down there, you know, big NASCAR hub. So,
oh gosh, man.
town.
Well, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for making time.
Of course, always.
Man, for being with us here tonight virtually, and just take good care, man. When you get back up north and things are normal, I hope I get to see you soon and spend some time with you, man.
Yeah, man, I look forward to that. And thanks for having me on. It's been really great. It's nice to be able to, you know, talk about our things, talk about our stuff, and talk about our passions, and get excited and laugh and smile. And, you know, we've all been hunkered down a bit, but, you know, we're getting through it, which is important. So it's good to talk to you, man. Love you, man. Thanks for having me on.
See you soon, Casey.
Be good, brother.